Afternoon, everybody. Christian here. It has been a while. I want to share a prophetic dream I had last night with you. I don't have my gear, so I can't set up my phone. I'll just have to hold it, and I'll probably ramble. I haven't gone over, how I want to describe everything, so it's off the cuff, right? All right. So before I get into this, let me make two statements. One, I've been trying to make sure that I do exactly what God tells me to do, and that means that if He tells you to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and pray, you don't get up around 3 or early in the morning. You get up at 3 in the morning and you pray. If He tells you to read X number of chapters, you don't get close to it. You don't hit and miss. You do what He said, right? So I've been trying to do that. And I know some people are going to say, it's salvation's not by works. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about development by doing the thing He tells you to do, right? You can't really go into the promised land if you're unwilling to go into the wilderness as well, right? So if God says go into the wilderness and you refuse to, then how will you ever get to the promised land, right? So it's obedience, right? Which is really important. So anyway, I say that so that I can say that one of the details for me that I was slipping on was I wasn't getting up at 3 a.m. on the nose, right? So last night at 3 o'clock in the morning, my alarm clock goes off, and I had already resolved that I'm going to get up at 3. So I got up at 3, and I actually, thankfully, the Lord made it so that I was capable of doing that. So I get up and I go and I do my prayer. And then I go back to bed. And for me, after everything else I had done that day, I knew that I had done everything that the Lord had called me to do, I was doing. And that night, as I went back to bed, I had this dream, and I want to tell you the dream. I'll tell you the dream, and then we'll get into it. So in this dream, I am with my wife and my son, and my wife's sister and her son, and I think maybe the dad was there as well. I just knew it was like a family outing kind of thing, right? And we were in Houston at a water park, right? And we had gone there because in my spirit, I felt like we were close to the fulfillment of this promise that God had told me about. And I was like almost certain of it. And so for whatever reason, I decided that we needed to go have some downtime, And so we went to this water park. And I don't even know if there is a water park in Houston or whatever, but just in the dream, this is how it was. And we're there, and in front of me, I see my son, and like he's about to get into the pool or something like that. Maybe he's already in the pool slightly. I don't know. We're just at this place, and my son is not the same age that he is today, right? So like right now he's preparing to go to college, but in this dream, he was much younger, maybe 10, 12, that kind of maybe 8, I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark. So in the dream, that's what I see, right? And I can see the back side of him, right? So he's got no shirt on. He's preparing to have fun at the swim park, right? And in this dream, he turns around and he looks at me. And when he turns around and looks at me, right on his forehead is the number 13. Like it had been tattooed there or something. It was just like this black number 13 marked on his forehead. And the dream's got like some of the details are kind of foggy, but in the dream I knew it's like he had the 13 marked boldly on his forehead. And then there was something on the back of his neck that I had seen. So I'm like, let me look at the back of your neck. And so I look at the back of his neck up close, And all of a sudden, what's written there becomes very big, and I can see it very clear as day. And it's the number 13 on the back of his neck. And on his chest is the number 13. Very bold, right? And so now I'm seeing this number 13 on these 3 different places on my kid. And I would go to my wife and I'm telling her, this is the deja vu thing. This is that thing that I dreamt about. And I couldn't remember the details, but this was that detail, whatever. And so I was telling her about it. And it had to do with the lottery as well, and it being fulfilled. And I knew that there was some details about my son, and him winning, and which is weird because a kid can't win, that kind of stuff. Anyway, it was just one of those things that God was drawing this out to me. He was showing me clear as day. Boom, right there. And I told my son, don't tell anybody. And this is something that the Lord has been speaking to me as of late anyway, which is when he does this thing, keep it to yourself. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell anybody. So I was warning my son, don't tell anybody. But he didn't listen. He started telling people that he had won the lottery, or we had won the lottery, or something along like that. Like I said, the details are fuzzy on some of it, but something like that. And the moment he did, people started behaving oddly, around us, and like started coming up closer to us, and had a threatening feel to it. It was weird. Anyway, that was basically the end of the dream. When I woke up, I had some immediate things in my mind. I'm like, okay, hang on a minute. If you guys have followed me on YouTube over the years, I'm not a fan of numerology, of angel numbers, of biblical, none of that. I think it's all trash, and I've always been very forthright with that. I've been very honest and open with you guys to tell you I don't listen to any of those people that talk that stuff, right? But here the Lord was showing me clear as day, I'm speaking to you using numbers. In this instance, it's the first time I've ever seen that. There have been a time since, or at least before this, right, that I've ever seen that. So it's a very interesting thing. So I have to, of course, go, what is this thing that I'm seeing? What is 13? What does this number even mean? And I have to go look at these, angel numbers or biblical numbers or whatever people want to call them, and understand what I'm seeing. But I also had to ask, God, you hold the interpretations of things, and feel free. If you have insight and knowledge about this dream and understanding, feel free to write it in the comment section below. I will absolutely read it. But anyway, having this dream, I said, Lord, you're going to have to give me the interpretation because I don't know it. And this is odd to me. I've always been against this numerology kind of stuff, or this, obviously I'm against the numerology, but like the angel numbers, that kind of a thing. And, but here I'm seeing something that's as clear as day. That I don't know how to describe it. It's just very clear. But also, why, God, did you put it on the back of his neck, on his forehead, and on his chest, or his heart? Well, another detail that was interesting is I've been struggling with my son in this particular area, where it's like I want him to listen to what I'm saying and value what I'm saying and those types of things. And he kind of has that, I'm a teenager, I know stuff, and my friends know stuff, and you don't know stuff, that kind of thing. Maybe. I mean, he's not a bad kid, don't get me wrong. There's nothing, don't read too much into that. I'm just saying he's not as humble as I would like, right? Maybe every parent could say that about their kid. But anyway, I have been bringing it to God repeatedly, praying about this situation. So anyway, the interpretation, the understanding that I was given from, I looked online, I went to AI, I went all over looking for everybody's insights, right, that they could give me about this. And from the angel number kind of perspective, they were saying like it's 13 is this number where it's the bridge between what was promised to possession. It's the bridge between the promise and the possession kind of thing. And like I said, anybody's got insights, you want to write them down below, feel free to. But I'm just sharing with you what I read online. And then the thing that was interesting to me, though, was that somebody was saying that it was also about change, transformation, right? And I thought it's interesting because here you have God's telling you that, yes, your fulfillment, your time of fulfillment is here, and you're not supposed to tell anybody. Those things are confirmed in the dream. But it's also speaking about this thing I've been bringing to God again and again about my son, and saying, his heart is not where I would like it to be, and he's got a stiff neck. When I tell him to do things, he doesn't want to do them, kind of thing, and his mind could be made better, he could understand better, right? And so God is showing me in this dream that he's going to take care of those three things. There's going to be a change on the heart, there's going to be a change in the mind, there's going to be a change in the neck. Won't be stiff-necked, right? But also, it is also confirming that, yes, indeed, this is fulfillment of the thing that I've been telling you about. You're right. You've been feeling in your spirit that, yes, it's being fulfilled. The time for that is now. And you're also right that you're not supposed to share this information with other people. As far as, like, after it happens, don't be running around telling people. So I felt that I needed to get up there and share this video with you guys, encourage you. And like I said before, whatsoever God does to me, he does to the church. That's one of the things he told me he would do. And I am just a picture of you guys, right? But also I have to get up here and kind of eat a little bit of crow and say, hey guys, for all of you guys that I give a hard time about the angel numbers kind of thing, apparently I didn't know everything either. And so now I have to keep learning like everybody else. Thank you. God bless. Take care. See you in the next one.